right, welcome to our new episode on deconstructing false myths and beliefs about the nature of reality and how the Seth material looks at all of that. Go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say?
Let's talk about karma.
Karma.
Let's take the big one on. Come on.
I love this one, actually.
Do you want to start us off and I'll chime in?
Yeah. So, how would we deconstruct this? So
What is karma?
So karma is, in a certain respect, there's an aspect of a lot of these things that are actually true, right? So karma is the idea in like how you would put it in Western, more biblical terms is you reap what you sow, right? You will reap the consequences of your actions. However, the term karma is actually coming from Eastern tradition, and it's the idea that your reincarnational cycles, that what is happening in this life is caused by a past life. So you have to work off bad karma. So if you're having difficulty or challenges or pain or suffering in this life, it's because you're being punished. You're working off your bad karma, the bad energy that you generated in a past life. So this life is not free and sovereign. You have to pay off what you did before.
Right.
And if you
That's the belief, right?
That's the belief. And if you did good acts in your past life, then you have good karma in this life, and now you're being rewarded. So basically, if you really strip it down and not like how it's commonly understood by people, it's actually some cosmic reward and punishment system that's really based on linear time. Past causes present, causes future, and you have no room to do anything except live it out and try to earn your way back to good karma.
Right. Yeah. And that's where the Seth material comes in and goes, no. He goes, yeah, no.
Just
So here's why.
How it is.
And there's a number of whys, but there's two or three main ones that I think we should just look at.
Right.
The first one is when you start to realize that time is relative and that time is simultaneous, even though it appears linear, and it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Cause and effect, then there's things that go beyond cause and effect, and it also basically means that you're being you're attracting this as a kind of a result, cause. I did this bad stuff in this lifetime. Oh, now I've got to pay for it. That implies guilt. And in Seth's perspective that he talks about, if time's simultaneous, there is no cause and effect. There's more way past that. And guilt makes no sense at all. And punishment makes no sense at all. So really, the whole concept, according to Seth, of karma is extremely distorted, and basically it's plain out wrong.
Right, because you could, let's say, from this lifetime, as Dave Selak, when you, again, our language forces a linear time syntax, but let's say after you die, you leave this lifetime, you could choose to incarnate into a time that we would consider before now, historical time, because it would serve your purposes better. The conditions of that time would enable you to develop or strengthen different aspects or express different aspects of yourself more easily than if you did, another 50 years forward from now. So it can go backward and forward.
Yeah.
It's simultaneous. They're all happening.
All those existences.
Right.
Reincarnation is not a linear thing. It's actually
it's
altogether
spherical and if anything horizontal, but so another thing with the idea of karma, besides this, again, based on there's something bad wrong and you're going to have to be punished, or you have to earn your goodness, you have to prove your goodness, is another misunderstanding about that, is that why would you then have difficult circumstances? Why would you choose to be born in a, poverty-stricken family or country or bad conditions or whatever they might be, And you have to have a larger understanding of the multidimensional nature of the entity, the soul, your larger identity, because you're here developing all your capacities, all your abilities. And if you want to, let's say you want to really learn about compassion. Well, if you really want to learn about compassion, you have to be on all sides
Yeah.
of the compassion
That's right.
topic, right? If you really want to learn about generosity or the nature of abundance, you have to know lack as well as plenty.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to have a complete understanding. When we do our life reviews, each and every one of us, you're going to look at the things and you'll be like, oh, I want to develop this. I want to be better at that.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I did cause harm through my lack of understanding and my behavior towards this soul, towards this entity. I would like to improve and grow on that. It's not from a point of punishment or guilt. It's constant growth, learning, expansion,
Yeah.
evolution. So if you really want to get good at something, it's not a single point. You've got to get a holistic learning around that topic.
Yeah, that's right. And you wouldn't choose using the lives as the working model. You wouldn't choose a life of a king over and over. It'd be boring. Like,
Yeah.
here I am again. Like, okay, what's for dinner? It's just so you would want a variety
Right.
of lives,
Right.
and so as these lives are occurring at the same time, um, if you do something quotes wrong or so forth, guilt makes no sense at all in terms of being punished for something that happened in some previous life, or some condition is a result of a previous life where you did something. So now you're paying the price for that. It just goes back to that whole thing of guilt, punishment, and that's not accurate. So as you as you begin to understand time more, which it does, it's a bit of a stretch. I admit, like I ignored it for a long time, but then I thought, okay, get in there and, wiggle around in there and try to find, and you can actually get somewhere. At least I have. I don't think I'm done with it, but you can get somewhere with it. And you start to realize it's like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. So that all that karma stuff that I used to kind of believe in, or, you make someone suffers, you go, oh, that's karmic. Must have been your past life. You start to realize that, no, that's wrong.
Right. And another thing that can happen is if you are in a culture that really has this kind of mistaken understanding of karma, it can create a kind of apathetic fatalism. Like, well, they're working out their bad karma. I don't need to do anything to improve social conditions. I don't need to take any action to create better living conditions for all, because that's their karma and they have to work it out. They have to suffer from what they did before. So it can create a kind of judgy, fatalistic, apathetic, like feeling like
Well, the promise is, oh, yeah, suffer, you can suffer. And some of the religions tend to, oh, it'll be better in the next life.
yeah.
It's kind of we don't have to do anything about it now.
Right.
Like, that's bad.
Right. And again, that there's go along with the belief in guilt and therefore punishment is the idea that there is value in suffering in and of itself, that suffering is good for the soul, that in order to grow and purify yourself, again, we're back to those same old belief systems, you need to suffer, because that is the only way that you can purify yourself and become more holy, more spiritual, more enlightened, or whatever. And basically, we and Seth calls bullshit on all of that. So
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a belief, this sounds strange to me, but I know this exists out there because I've heard it. And, it's like, oh, see how she's suffering? Oh my, God must really love her. Like, somehow it's blessed to suffer.
to suffer.
Like,
yeah.
oh, you learn a lot from suffering. It's like,
Or the idea that you can only learn through pain. And it's like, this is part of the same thing related to karma, which is, again, ridiculous. In another episode, I mentioned how a pediatric neurologist and neurosurgeon who I used to work with had said that, if you really want to understand human nature, look at infants and very young children. Right. So the most rapid, intense growth period in life is the first few years, where children are driven by curiosity, play, creativity. Yeah. That is how they learn. Yeah. Rapid learning is through play, pleasure, joy, creativity, not through pain, suffering.
No, I agree. Like, there's little phrases, and you can, like, I'm attracted to some of these one-liners. And one of them, I'll remember, it's, you gotta suffer if you want to sing the blues. Like, do you? You can't sing the blues without suffering a lot. Like, I know what they're trying to get at there, but the idea that only you can express a particular set of emotions because you've suffered a lot is like, might be a little suspect.
Yeah, it's, again, these false beliefs and mistaken understandings that put value on pain, suffering, guilt, and punishment, and all of that. So that's the. Do we have more to say about karma?
Yeah, there's one
more
thing I'd like to add, and it's so the alternative to that. Well, if all these things aren't karmic, well, then what are they? And one of the pieces that Seth said is, you may have been born into really challenging, difficult situations. You may be born poor, you may be born with a disability, you may be born with certain kinds of lacks or certain things like that are, indeed true challenges. Before this life, or again, linear language, right? But we're stuck with it. We set the blueprints for our lives. We actually somewhat choose the challenges that we're going to face. Might be a disability, might be a tough environment. Any of those things we actually co-choose with our parents and our other family members as to what setting we parachute into, we're born into. So we actually set up these challenges in order to solve them.
Right.
So we can actually make whatever the challenge is a lot, according to Seth, and I've proven it to myself, a lot better. We can actually, if we're in a really war-torn country, we can leave. Like, will it take effort, energy, and even if you're a kid, you can still go. Like, many have done it. I'm just saying, I'm trying to set the
right, because nothing
is not solvable.
Right. And you have larger purposes for it. You're developing, let's say, a curriculum for yourself so that you balance out all of your development. And so there's always reasons for it. Now, one of the things that I have really discovered and learned is that, unless it's something that is just permanent, like you were born, missing a foot or something like that, if you really take on the true inner purpose that you set for yourself, if you really solve it, if you really come to understand it, you can actually then shift, make a new probable reality, and okay, I've completed that. I don't really want to keep enacting it in this lifetime. I got it. Mm-hmm. I wrung the juice out of it. I've looked at it from all sides now, as the song goes, and I've reaped the learning. So I can make a new choice. I don't have to keep living it out unless it's something that you really set up as a permanent situation for that lifetime.
Absolutely.
So you still have the power of choice, that you can make a new choice, but it's not just making a new choice from, I don't like this challenge anymore. Can I have a do-over? It's like, no. You got to do the learning.
Yeah.
But if you do the learning,
I got a great example.
You can make a new one.
Here's an example, like really good friend of mine, one of the first friends I made when I moved to Australia, a guy named by the name of Paul, come into work, and he sticks his stump out at me. He was born with one arm. Mm. He sticks his stump. He was and still is occupational therapist, and it's like he was in your face with it. Like, he didn't hide it, and at an earlier age, he decided to make the most of what he had, and not to put up any barriers to what he wanted to do. He ended up playing soccer at a very high level, being a coach, being a parent, having a great, work life career. He didn't let it stop him.
Right.
Even though, like, if you asked him and said, what about this? He'd go, oh, I know I don't like it, but it's not even making peace with it. It's just, no, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
I'm going to find a way to do and be what I want to be and what I want to do.
And along with this, talking about, karma, because it's going to lead us more into reincarnation, or we're already on it because they're intrinsically tied together, is that if you have come in with a specific limitation, that's really like an organic limitation of some sort, it's kind of a way of, okay, well, now we have focused the field of development. So the things that are still available are the ones we want to emphasize, like highly emphasize. So it's sometimes like, as an artist or creative person, you could set yourself a certain limitation. Like, I'm only going to work in this size, or I can only use 3 colors, or I can only do whatever the thing is, so that all the things that are still open to you then become where you intensify the focus. So let's go into reincarnation also, because people again have this idea of this one line thing, and like, oh, in a past life I was a dog, and now I'm evolving to a human, or because this happened in a past life, this is how it is now, and there's nothing I can do about it. Or again, all of these kind of misconceptions about reincarnation, and given the fact that time is simultaneous, a lot of them will fall away with that. But say some more.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Or say something.
No, I can't. I'm at a loss. No, I'm not at a loss. Look, it's interesting it's a great idea. Reincarnation. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, you'd have multiple lives. But to add to that, and to, I think, really understand it fully, is instead of this progressive thing where you're kind of climbing up on one, you're poor, a linear way of looking at it, which is in error. Again, the study of time illustrates that all of these lives occur at the same time, and that there's bleed-throughs where the different lives kind of help each other, because they're solving different problems. They feed each other. They nourish each other. There's communication between all, and telepathically and within inner reality. You can meet your other simultaneous lives, or you might call them reincarnational lives. You can meet them in the dream state. They're readily available to you. And you can use, we'll call it past life regression or psychological regression, to come more in contact with them, which I have done. I'm sure you have as well.
And I don't even, I can get contact with them, and it's just any kind of like altered state you can get in contact with your simultaneous selves. And again, if it's not linear, that means that a future self could have been informing this life, and this life could be informing a past self.
Yeah. And there's this communication and help. There's like a channel.
Exactly.
Or channels that are everywhere, invisibly existent. But when you get inspiration sometimes, or you get help from an unknown source, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I solved it. What happened?
Right.
What happened?
You have the abilities from other lifetimes that you can draw on in this lifetime. All right, Dave. So let's go on, because we've talked about karma. We've talked about reincarnation. Of course, they're tied together. Another question that came in from the community was, well, what about fate versus choice? Like, are certain things just destiny, fated, or do we have choice over everything? And, the idea of destiny. How do you understand the Seth teachings on this?
Yeah, this is interesting. I think it's actually pretty cool. So in the time of, we'll call it the time of choosing.
The time of choosing.
Oh, so we're going, Mikhaila's coming down, I'm coming down, down, up, whatever. In this reality, right? To choose this life. According to Seth, we create in that time. So parents, parents and we all cooperate together in choosing each other And it's like, okay, what role are you going to take? Oh, you're going to be mom. Okay, I'll be dad. And Rebecca will be, kid one.
Kid one, daughter
one.
number one.
Yeah, D1.
D1.
D1. Anyway, so no, there's this kind of simplifying it, but there's that kind of, and at a really complex level, and what point in time are we going to come into? What culture? What country? What are the things going on? All that stuff.
What point
it's
in
really
history?
complicated, actually.
Yeah.
So the inner self and inner selves have access to all this. So all these choices go on at a deeper level. So, but with this kind of choice, you can, just like a building, lay blueprints for a life. Meaning, so what abilities will Mikhaila be born with? Will she have psychic healing abilities? Will she have athletic abilities? Will David be able to ride horses or paddle canoes? Or so there's all
form
kinds
deep, loving relationships. What are you going to do this next time around?
Exactly. So all these things come into what we then are born with, and then we're going to overlay. So these are skills and abilities and things you can develop in your life, but there's also a pattern and agreements made with other key characters in your life. So people that you care about from other lifetimes, they reincarnate together, say, but in different families, or they might be in your school group or social group, and you make what we would call appointments. Like, the general focus of a life. Yeah.
I'll meet you in college.
Exactly.
On
Or
the
I'll meet you
quad,
before you die.
And we'll become best friends.
Or you might be your future partner. It's like, and they show up on time. Like, the pathway, it's like the Red Sea clears. Doot, doot, doot. Here you come. And so there are appointments. So even within freedom of choice, which Seth says you have, you still have these blueprints. That doesn't mean that there is fate. You can make choices at every point along the way.
And those blueprints are not externally imposed. So the
No,
idea
they're
of
yours.
fate,
You created them.
is it something from on high or a part of you or God, that is your destiny and you must do this. And
No, sorry, you are God. Remember?
Right. So it's not an externally imposed blueprint.
Yeah.
It's a general plan for a life, not in the specifics, not really in details, because you have to have a lot of free will to make different choices, choose different probabilities. But the overarching trends, I also like that analogy of orchestral piece, a symphony in multiple movements where you have repeating motifs and themes, but they're done in different ways in each section of the symphony.
Good example.
In this section, we're going to have the woodwinds dominant. Oh, in that section, it's going to be the cello or whatever it might be. So it's this idea that in the sense of like fate would be like the deeper motifs, themes, purposes, structures of the life. And then the free will is the constant choosing, because you have to keep making choices all along the way. This is actually very interesting in the sense that I'm going to tie this to another episode where we talked about ego identity, self-aware identity. So the evolution of this kind of consciousness was with a level of choice, of conscious choice, so you could get really good at the creative use of your mental, psychic, mental, emotional energy. Whereas in animals, a lot of that is driven by instinct. Right? So it's kind of biologically programmed. So since a lot of this is not biologically programmed for humans, it's by conscious choice so that we can become better and better creators of reality. Right? So
conscious creators.
Conscious, conscious co-creators, obviously. We're doing it together.
I want to add in something that is most people, as they grow up, and if you're a parent, you'd understand this too. You look at your kids, or when you were young, you thought, oh, what do I want to do in my life? What do I want to be in my life? Oh, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a doctor. And you have all these options and so forth, and you go, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. That'd be fun. And at some point, though, it kind of brings itself together, and it comes down to maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 choices, or 3 or 4 choices, say. And you could see yourself going down any one of these paths. I remember that. And I could see that in my kids, because you see in your kids, it's like, oh, yeah, you're really good at that. But, yeah, you're really good at that, too. And then you watch, and then they choose, if it's your kids. And then you watch yourself when you choose that. And you decided, I think I'll do that. So we actually have those, we create and have, as you did, I know your background a little bit, those choice points at where, the probable selves part. Like one of you went that way.
Yeah.
One of you was the dancer, and one of you became
the doctor.
Yeah. So both exist.
Or the dancing doctor, as we have it now. No longer doing medical practice. And this goes back to, again, this idea of, fate or destiny versus free will and choice, because there's such a common thing for people, like, okay, well, what is the purpose of my life? What's my sole purpose? As though it's some like job description, like, oh, you're just going to be a blah, 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 blah. But it's not like that. We are multidimensional beings. We are here fulfilling multiple purposes. There is no one single purpose, and it's nothing that you could describe as a job description. You're not here to be something that you could just put in a single sentence, like it's, an ad on Indeed or LinkedIn or something.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, there is no list. Just being yourself is enough.
Yeah.
And you'll do all these other things to be named.
Yeah, you're here to be and express and develop and fulfill who you are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's really it. So then this ties us into the next question that came from the community, which was about this idea again. Oh gosh, why do we humans love to create duality, polarized, oppositional constructs? So is it nature? Or is it nurture? Is who you are, it's heredity and it's just who you are? Or is it nurture? It's the environment you grew up in, the culture you grew up in. What if we you were an identical twin, and we put one of you in this climate and environment and culture and the other one here? What would happen? So what does Seth say about all this?
This
Dave?
is giving me a headache. No. Look, I think the interesting part of this is let's look on the nurture side, right?
Okay, and then I can blow your mind on the nature side, because something just popped into my head about what Seth said about genetics and heredity, but go ahead. Okay.
So we're talking about nurture, which means to you, what does that mean when you're talking nurture? Let's get our terms straight quickly.
Like the cultural and emotional environment that you're growing up in.
Oh, okay. So the environmental.
Right. It's the environmental. Okay. What was it like?
Yeah, it's all about your environment.
Was it abusive? Was it kind? Was it this?
Again,
was it that?
Yeah. So that side of it, it boils it down into a cause and effect thing, right? So, and that's, again, that's a linear time kind of construct. If only we could, get everyone into a positive, constructive environment. Not that there's anything bad with that. Not at all. But if we did that, everything would be sorted out, right?
Well,
that's
then
the idea.
How would you explain, I had 3 other siblings, grew up in the exact same family dynamic. Why do they have a whole different experience of that and different identity and different issues than I do? We were nurtured the same.
Yeah, that's right.
Or if you could call it nurturing.
Yeah. Well,
some of it was nurturing.
Yeah, it's just like there's always these really, and science has shown it. Even science.
Science.
My scientist.
9
buddies,
out of 10 scientists.
My scientist buddies. All right. Better look over my shoulder. Like they're they have shown. Look, one of the more common ones is all criminals come from deprived, poor economic backgrounds.
Except that's not true.
And
Oh, sorry, Dave.
She stole my thunder,
I did it
as if
again.
I even had
I'm
any.
so sorry.
So, but yeah, thank you. But that's not true. Yes, it is. That's correct. That is not true. So, and it's been shown over and over again. But the interesting part is, guess what? Most people believe still.
They believe that.
They believe that.
Yeah.
So it's a cause and effect. If only we solve these more or less social issues, economics, bad background, bop, 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 all that stuff, will solve criminality. That's not what it's about at all.
Right.
And it's been shown over and over again. Yet, most people still believe that.
Well, and so really what it is because I guess I want to layer in a few things. So one of the things Seth has talked about is emotional legacy or emotional heritage, where you're inheriting the belief systems of a family because that's the psychic environment you grow up in. Now, another thing he said is in terms of genes, genetics, chromosomes, all of that they are responsive to thought, emotion, and belief.
No
and
way.
expectation.
I don't believe it.
Exactly.
That's bullshit.
So you can turn
true.
things on and off
Yeah.
by changing your belief systems.
Yeah.
Now,
Can you change your genetics
yes.
by changing your beliefs?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
That is what you're saying. Yeah. Or another way to think of it is that you have such a huge bank of potentiality in your gene pool that at any one time, what is latent and what is actively being expressed, it's constantly fluctuating. And this is very well accepted and known in biological sciences. I mean, just you can make the analogies or the see what I extrapolate it over is for example, if you go and move to northern Alaska and work on the pipeline up there, your gene, it will cause different gene expression and you eat whatever the diet is they're eating up there versus if you move to Hawaii and you spent your life surfing and growing papayas and eating raw fruits
Other herbal remedies.
Yeah, and other herbal
we say.
remedies, it will do a different gene expression. So every thought and emotion that you have has an electrochemical expression. So really, this whole idea of nature versus nurture, it's not that you don't have as a unique personality essence. You do have tendencies and trends. Even as an entity, you do still have individual characteristics. You have, it's more of a broad one than one individual lifetime, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you have a broad one. So you do have certain characteristics that you may carry through multiple lifetimes. Given that, you still have the power and the kind of responsibility to choose and steer your own thoughts and imagination. So even if you grew up in a very, let's say, traumatic environment or abusive environment, and you came away thinking bad things about yourself, so to speak, or about what's possible for you, about how the world works, or how safe or loving the world is, or the universe is, you still can change that. We've seen, and this is why, people are so attracted to heroic stories of inspiration of overcoming great hardship, because it shows that we are not actually limited by any of these things. We have the free will to apply ourselves to changing our internal constructs.
And not just as a young person. You can bring in some of these latent abilities that you have at any point in your life.
Indeed.
It could be in, or middle, later years.
Right.
And for example, lots of people that no longer, they don't have to go to their usual work. All of a sudden, they're painting, they're writing, they're traveling, they're developing a bunch of abilities they didn't even know they had. And many of them, songwriting, writing. It's just whoa, where did that all come from? Well, it's latent and it's there to be experienced and expressed.
So let's go into something a little practical as we kind of wrap up this episode. So kind of this idea of nature versus nurture. And then what is nature? Well, let's think of our nature as what is our true unique essence, not some false ideas, negative ideas about human nature and all of that, but like your true unique essence. So if you really want to bring that out, the more that you connect with the truth of who you are, the more you will be able to create constructive belief systems that are more in alignment with your true purposes for this particular lifetime and more fulfillment for your true nature. And I believe, in my experience, one of the best, easiest methods that Seth has offered to us is to connect with the feeling tone of our being. And he talks about these feeling tones as like these deep emotional rhythms, like the deep oceanic currents through our beings. They're more of a kind of inner sound, vibrational, felt sense of your essence. And you can get to the feeling of your larger multidimensional being by sensing those feeling tones. And it's a very simple exercise that you just actually sit quietly, right? Sit quietly, comfortably. You can, like, generally works a little bit better if you close your eyes and just give yourself the suggestion, the intention, just to sense, to experience, to connect with the feeling tone of your being, and don't have an expectation that it's going to be some kind of sounding like a gong or a bell or something like that. Just let it come as a felt sense. Do you have something you want to add to how to do the feeling tone? You were going into the feeling tone.
Yeah, damn it. It's such a great exercise. It's that simple. Like, sit there and feel. You've heard the title, The Song of Yourself. Like, this is the feeling tone of yourself. Just sit there and feel just for a few minutes, and you can get that feel, that tone. It might be a little bit of a sound or a vibration. It's so worth doing.
Yeah, and I highly recommend this to everyone to do, like on the regular. You don't have to take a half hour. You can just do it in, a few minutes. Once you start to like be able to turn the dial of your own radio station so you can sense it, it is so reassuring, affirming, grounding, connect you with the confident inner knowing of your own beingness. It always will give you a feeling of kind of just knowing your own value and validity as an entity.
It's a touchstone. It's when you're bent out of shape, all in a tiz, bring yourself back. Just use the easy experience of experiencing your feeling tone, and you'll become grounded once again.
Yeah, really good. Centering, grounding. So I think we covered, let me check with our producer. Did we miss any questions that came from our audience?
We have a bonus question.
A bonus question.
Oh, man. Oh, this is fantastic.
Spontaneity versus discipline.
Ah, I love this one. Spontaneity versus discipline.
I'm spontaneity. You're disciplined.
I'm both spontaneous and disciplined. And actually, again, we're back to these false opposition, false polarity or conflicts. And this whole thing about spontaneity and discipline was actually at the root of many of Jane Roberts' issues, as Seth so often would talk to her and Rob about spontaneity and discipline. So I don't even like the word discipline.
I've got an idea how to do this.
All right.
So for everyone watching or listening, gonna say a word and then note what you think or feel about it. Discipline. Spontaneity. So note your own reaction to those two words and what immediately comes to mind.
Right.
So
all the connotations. So discipline could be, rigid, restrictive, limited. It could also be focused, committed,
Disciple of.
structured, productive. And then spontaneity could be like free, exuberant, expressive, creative, or it could be impulsive, irrational, out of control, chaotic.
Yeah. Dancing. It can be even activities. Discipline, marching in step with everyone else. Wearing a uniform, discipline. So there's all these associations that we have with various words and meanings that are unique in and of to ourselves. They can have some carryover and overlap between people. So they can mean roughly the same thing for different, like some people, they like discipline. They really like it.
Well,
Don't they?
again, it's like, what are your beliefs about the nature of the self? If you believe that it's like wild, chaotic, uncontrolled, animalistic, probably destructive forces, then you better exert some discipline, and spontaneity would be dangerous because you might let Mr. Hyde out and who would be running amok, right? On the other hand, you could be looking at spontaneity is like a really high value and discipline is just limiting and restrictive, right?
Yeah.
So but Seth so often encourages he even calls it the spontaneous self. And so what he's really meaning is that we are in open communication, open channels of communication with our inner self. So we're available to register, to take note of impulses that are coming through. And, creativity thrives in spontaneity. It does not thrive in forced discipline.
Yeah.
It's not a manufacturing production line creating widgets.
Absolutely. Let me give you some examples.
Yeah.
I think it'll illustrate. So spontaneity means ability to respond, essentially.
And go with the flow.
Yeah. And
Right.
also, but our inner self communicates with us and provides us good guidance because it has this helicopter view of our past, present, and future. And it can go, oh, these choices this way, really good. That's your best probability if
Very fulfilling.
yeah,
You'll
good.
like it.
This is really good. So, and what that inner self does is it gives us some sets of impulses that it shoots through. It's like, hey, in a better voice than mine. Hey, Mikhaila, like you might want to do this. You might want to sign up for that class or do this or do that. And we each have that. It's each coming through unless you block it out.
Right.
And unless you don't believe in it. Even then, the inner self may knock harder.
Yeah.
Like, or create a stop sign for you, like to actually stop and make you look through it. Could be an illness, could be an accident to make you stop because it knows if you keep going, it could be really, really bad if you don't stop. So at any rate, so I'm just saying, so we have to, it's really great for us to listen to what's coming up from inside, to those spontaneous impulses that come up through us. And when they repeat and recur, it's like there's a good reason for that. But also we're still at freedom of choice. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Because we want our conscious ego to grow. And the only way to grow is by having choices to learn, right? So being able to hear that spontaneous portion of ourselves, that's why sometimes meditation is good for some people.
And you could
or
do it
some
walking,
other quiet
being
practice.
in nature.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It can be many different things, but just the ability to be able to listen and be able to, monitor what's coming up for us.
Now, let me reframe discipline, because Seth has talked about things that will create, focus, right? And some degree of, like, say, consistency. And you do have to make a commitment to certain things if you want to actually develop and grow them.
Agree.
The issue is it discipline from the belief and the fear that if we don't control, it's going to be out of control, constructive, chaotic, mayhem. So that is kind of a imposed, repressing, restricting energy, which is very different from discipline, where you're making a conscious choice to focus your energy, focus your time, and make some commitment to some consistent practice, let's say, of working with your beliefs or working with your dreams. So in a way, that is discipline, but it's not like a authoritarian, repressive, imposed thing. It's just creating some structure. So there's no need for discipline and spontaneity to be in conflict. They can actually serve and join together, where you can create a discipline of being available and receptive and noting spontaneous impulses.
Here's a great example. Well, here's a discipline that has spontaneity involved in it. Okay, here's a discipline.
Right.
Let me explain it to you. I just made it up.
You just made that. Okay.
I know.
On the spot,
I know, how cool.
creativity, spontaneous.
why
You're
not?
being spontaneous.
I know. Well,
Here you are.
It does happen. It can happen to anyone at any time. You got to be careful. So here's a discipline. It's a practice. So every day, at least 3 times a day, I will listen to what my inner self has to tell me. And it might be a period of 3 or 4 quiet times a day, which lasts just a few minutes. And any impulses that I need to be aware of will come charging up into my consciousness. So you can see, I just made this up. It's a little bit rough, but work with it yourself. I will enhance the impulses from my inner self and create a bell that alerts me to I need to listen to something.
I love
so
that.
you can have a play with it. So the discipline is creating a practice where you will listen to your spontaneous self. That's what we're trying to create.
Right.
So you can figure it out yourself.
They're
right?
not in opposition.
No.
They serve each other.
Highly
they work
complement each
together. Yes, because you do need focus, and you need open, receptive availability of spontaneity. You need it both. So it's like, do you only want your left hand, or do you want your left and your right hand? Can't you do more if you have 2 hands?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing is, like, if you're doing practices like, look, I love listening to music. I love listening to audio books. I do that. But I also love listening to nothing and just walking with just be aware of what's happening right now. And so I allow myself to do that every day. And I know, look, a lot of my colleagues and compatriots in the human community, like, they've always got earbuds stuck in. They're always got something going on. It's like, I'd think, gosh, I wonder, how their spontaneous selves, are they getting through? And
Right,
they do.
right.
They do. But why not make it easier? Because our spontaneous self, at least my experience, it's always trying to communicate.
Right.
Always.
Right.
It's not just once or twice a day. No.
And it's
all the
coming
time.
from, again, I'm going to call it's coming from data sets that are not right in the front of the conscious mind. So you're coming from a larger field of information, trying to steer you towards greater and greater thriving,
That's
flourishing, value fulfillment, right?
All that information, like, your inner self, you are aware of absolutely everything that's going on in this world, both nearby, locally, regionally, across the country, and across the world. And all that data exists, and you sift it out. And then your inner self is, meanwhile, going, what's best for Mikhaila? Well, let's see. Yeah, if she went to yoga class, tango, yes. There's a cute something over there. It's aware of everything. And when you start to realize that, you can listen in on what do I do? What direction?
Yeah. And so what I would say in closing about this whole spontaneity discipline thing is that anything that you're looking at, I need to be disciplined, or I should be more disciplined, or I am disciplined here, is to really examine the motivation. Where is it coming from? Is it to repress and control? or is it to focus and enhance?
Absolutely.
You like that?
I do.
I just made that up.
And spontaneity has its own order,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it knows, there's a deep and huge wisdom within all of us and all that is, because it actually keeps track of all that and can see from that, again, that helicopter view.
So important, Dave. Such an important point, because Seth is always emphasizing that, because there's the assumption that spontaneity is like out of control, it would be chaotic. And it's like, no, it's part of the whole organic process, so that if you followed your own spontaneous energy, everything would get what it needed in time. You would have spontaneous impulses to rest and to activity.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be always go, 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 do,
No.
do. And it wouldn't be always like lay about and veg. Like, no, you would get impulses that would regulate and fulfill all the needs.
And also, you'd allow yourself to really let go.
Yeah.
Like take the governors off, take the blinders off, and it's like, I'm just gonna. Actually, this is cool.
Okay.
I forgot about this. But
All
now I
right,
remember.
one more piece.
Yeah, last piece. So, final exercise, or one exercise you can do, is for a chunk of time. Could be all day.
An
Could be
entire
for
day.
I know. Could be a few hours. Could be the next hour. Is the assignment, the experiment really, is I will follow my spontaneous impulses, and I'll use this all day and see what happens.
I love that.
My experience with it, when I remember to do it, it's amazing.
I'm going to promise each and every one of you, if you pay attention to your spontaneous impulses, if you start to note them down, again, you can choose which ones to act on. You will not regret it, and it will start to open and strengthen the channel of communication between your conscious outer awareness and all the rest of your inner self and inner wisdom. Yeah. All right, Dave, I think we did it.
Thanks, Mikhaila. Now we're done.
Now we're really done. All right. Thanks for another great episode.
Yeah, you're welcome.
To be continued.
Great.
Seth made it clear. You create your own reality. But knowing that and living it are two very different things. How do you actually shift a belief? How do you create your reality in a world that seems filled with limitations? How do you move from understanding metaphysical concepts to experiencing real change? For the first time, the Seth Center has created a course that brings Seth's most essential teachings on manifestation and reality creation into one clear, practical program. This isn't a course in theory. It's a course in transformation. If you want the most comprehensive course on manifestation we've ever created, check out Create Your Own Reality from the Inside Out. It's on demand and self-paced, with a library of guided practices, a full workbook, and everything you need to understand how manifestation really works, step by step through the lens of the Seth material. You can start today at SethCenter.com or learn more using the link below.